need his beauty sleep, and I'm joined instead by the savior of esports, the casting jersey herself. Welcome, Kudo.
Hello there. Long time no see with the chat.
Yeah, it's been a while. And again, Kura, she's always there in the background. She's handling the production for the WTL cast, but she's going to be taking over the casting mic here for the time being as we jump into our next matchup. It's going to be Platinum Heroes versus DKZ Gaming.
Yeah, and after what we saw, like last series, after we saw SSLT taking down Abydos, I'm suddenly like, hold on. Because like most people predicted like this to be like a clean sweep, but actually maybe it won't. Maybe it won't be.
Maybe. I mean, again, the Starving Camels, I think my favorite thing about their run so far in this team league is that they just come in so very prepared. I think we first really noticed it when they played against Shopify Rebellion, specifically like Firefly versus Lambo and Cyan versus Scarlet. Like they came in so prepared for those matches, and likewise the same can be said here. You know, the cheeses that we saw, the builds in game 2 were so perfectly designed for their opponents, and I mean, hey, Cyan even beat Cure. Like that's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, and it wasn't like you know, oh, he proxied him and Cure didn't notice. No, like that was a longer game. Like he had to keep up with Cure.
Oh, exactly. But we'll see if maybe the Platinum Heroes are inspired by the Starving Camels. We'll see if they can maybe utilize some of that power over themselves, because they're up against an insane team, DKZ Gaming. They're a team of champions. They have won World Team Leagues in the past. And our first matchup is going to be HateMe versus Oliveira.
What do you think about Oliveira being a B?
It's ridiculous. I understand that his form post Katowice is a lot lower than world class, but it's higher than a B.
I was gonna say immediately after IEM he was an S, I'm pretty sure. And then they're like, you know what, it's good enough. You had your moment.
Shake your man.
But anyway, we are loaded into Babylon and we are looking at the Bluesack player HateMe and his opponent, the Red Terran, Oliveira.
There we go, and I'm pretty excited for this series. You know, Oliveira, we have been casting him quite a lot recently. We've been casting him a lot against Cyril as well, and he has been struggling against Cyril, and I understand that the WTL organizers probably want to be a little bit harsh on Oliveira because they put so much pressure on him because he is the star player of their region. And Oliveira, he, you know, hasn't been able to go toe-to-toe with like Maru and Cyril recently. But against a player like HateMe, I do think that Oliveira is still coming in as the strong favorite.
Yeah, I definitely would say so. Although I will say this pause did made him look pretty upset. So I mean, mindset does play a part to this as well.
Yeah, unfortunately, we have a little bit of latency coming in here. It's not ideal, but as this is an online tournament, when we have two players from the opposite sides of the world playing against each other, you know, there is going to be some ping involved. But the plus side is that typically, because it's a best of 2, they do alternate between servers.
Yes.
And if one server isn't ideal, well, it's okay, because in the next game, you know, you'll have the advantage instead.
Yeah, and we are already back into the game. And let's just see how that goes. I mean, there's no cheesing. Nobody decides to go for just early aggression straight up.
Yeah, and I'm really curious. Basically, this series, my eyes are on HateMe. How is he going to come in prepared here? How is he going to be ready for this? Because honestly, casting HateMe in the past, he's a pretty aggressive and pretty cheesy player. I'll always remember when we played against Platinum Heroes, it was a CranKy Ducklings versus Platinum Heroes, and HateMe cheesed Eric out. It was on, I think it was on Moondance. HateMe just like Ling Bane all in him. But that's a different matchup. But I still feel like he has that a little bit of that reputation. So I wonder if that's how he's going to try and overcome Oliveira, because I feel like a standard late game is probably not going to go his way.
I mean, I would assume not. Yeah, I definitely think Oliveira is a player that would probably overwhelm HateMe in a longer game, in just, you know, purely based off macro and stuff after all. But I mean, you never know. Look, after last series, I have doubts. I'm not so confident anymore.
I don't know. I still attribute that to Starving Camels themselves. I do think that they are just such good at preparing for series that it's really difficult to ever count them out. And I think initially we were thinking, oh, maybe their performance against Shopify Rebellion, maybe that's like a one-time thing. Maybe their performance against Dragon KZ Gaming, maybe that's a one-time thing. Basilisk, maybe that's a one-time thing. But at this point, week after week, consistently, the Starving Camels, they have been punching up so hard and so well that for the next predictions, I feel like more people have to have faith. I feel like more people, they got to believe. Doesn't matter who the hell they're up against.
Yeah, definitely. I guess the Camels are eating well.
Or they're just that hungry. They're that desperate.
Or they're that hungry, yeah. I mean, they're hungry for the victory. Clearly.
Yeah. If they win, they get to eat. Let's go.
What if they tie?
And they have to share their food.
I mean, that's good enough.
I mean, they're starving.
I mean, at least there's food. It's better than nothing, right?
True. Oh, boy. But yeah, we do apologize. Looks like we do have some latency issues. Worst comes to worst, we may restart the game itself. I do know that depending on what server they're playing on, sometimes there are multiple nodes, and sometimes you just get a bad pathway, and sometimes, restarting the lobby and restarting the game does fix things. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, as you said, unfortunately, it's just bound to happen in an international tournament that, the servers may not always be ideal, and we just look for the best solution between the two different parts of the world.
Yeah, exactly. They're trying their hardest here to resolve those issues. Oliveira, of course, has to make sure that he's not downloading anything in the background. Steam is closed, no kind of weird update going on, no Windows update or anything like that.
Do you think
does
he
happen
used
sometimes.
Steam?
Yeah. Who doesn't use Steam nowadays?
Is Steam
Come on,
a thing in China, actually?
True. That's true.
No, because maybe it is. Just a different version of it.
Yeah, they probably have their own version of Steam, but your Steam equivalent, making sure that you close it. There you go. But yeah, we do have quite a number of matches lined up for us today. Of course, we're starting off with HateMe versus Oliveira. Later on tonight, we're going to be getting into DNS versus Dark, and we will end the evening off with Art versus Hero.
Yeah, I probably look forward the most to Art versus Hero. I obviously predicted Hero 2-0 because that's the rule. I cannot predict against Hero. But out of all the matches, I have the most doubts about that one.
Yeah, Art was looking really impressive. I want to say we casted Art recently against a top-tier Protoss player, and he was able to get a really surprising result. What am I thinking of? Yeah, I'll have to double-check later on. Maybe check later on during the in between the matches, as we are now getting back into this, and thankfully, our players they did restart. They did restart the lobby.
Okay.
Oliveira was top left before, but now he's bottom right.
Yeah, hopefully that makes it better for the players, because obviously we wouldn't want them to play on the bad conditions, because we want them to show their best games.
Yeah, again, we mentioned it earlier, but sometimes there are just bad pathing to bad nodes to bad servers in StarCraft, and you do have to restart the game itself to fix it. It's hashtag indie game. It happens. Yeah. It's just a known thing that does happen here in StarCraft, but it's all good. It looks like we have resolved the issue, and Oliveira is doing his best Beyond impression.
Okay, interesting. We're getting these 2 racks straight into the wall, in the lower ground wall. And we'll see what HateMe does with that, because so far, he's not super aggressive, just going for this hatch before pull.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what kind of variation Oliveira is going to be going for. So, for the people in the chat, if you've been watching Beyond, you know all about this. Beyond, every single TVZ, he opens up with a 2 racks just like this on the low ground to expand behind it. But he does have different variations. From time to time, he goes 2 racks into CC. He can go for a 2 racks into a hidden 3rd racks in his main base. Or he can go for a full-on all-in and go 4 racks as well. And it's all off of the same initial 2 Rexes on the low ground, so it can be difficult to distinguish between all 3 of them.
Yeah, we'll find out. I mean, HateMe won't see that for a while because his overalls are going a bit of a roundabout way, making sure he's not being proxied. So it will be a while before he can even see that. Also, I like the comment in the chat that HateMe is carrying on the Doomer's Egg tradition. They have to be in the darkness.
Yes, you have to be in the dark. Even though there's light behind him, he's still in a shadow. As for the time being, we do have 3 Reapers on the way, and typically it is only 3 Reapers, and then you just expand behind it. There is that CC on the way, and again, this is just for map control. Oliveira isn't looking to mass Reaper, as he does throw down another Rex.
Yeah, there is another Rex coming. I mean, there are still more Reapers as well, so for the time being, they will be taking control of the map, but we will see what Oliveira is planning to follow this up with.
Yeah, and it's going to be an all-in. I mentioned it earlier. There are different variations. He's throwing down 2 more Rexes. It is going to be 2 base, 4 Rex. There's going to be an insane amount of Marines coming out from Oliveira.
What if he just goes Mass Reaper?
No.
God damn it. Like every time I'm casting, I'm trying to like implant some stupid idea into players' brains, and it doesn't work.
Unfortunately, as we do, force a cancel on the 3rd hatchery as well, and we're gonna get another cancel.
Yeah, it was very quick reaction for HateMe, but yeah, this hatch will have to be cancelled, and the drone is eventually being killed as well. He also had to pull his queens all the way out there, so they will not be there for defending the bases.
Yeah, exactly. And now our eyes have to turn on HateMe because he is working off of very incomplete information right now. We do have a 3rd base on the way. He is in the middle of droning. But again, he's going up against an all-in behind this. So this is going to be hitting with a massive amount of Marines. Stim is going to be done for this as well. And this should hit without medevacs. You know, no medevacs, no other kind of supportive units here. And this is designed to catch the Zerg player droning. And right now, HateMe is, you know, his 3rd base is late. Like, he has to catch back up economically. I do worry for him if he doesn't have a defensive Baneling Nest, or if he does skip out on queens.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be any Baneling Nests coming. There are just those Zerglings. They are in the middle of the map, so at least they will be able to see the forces fairly early, I guess. But I don't think it will be early enough to master like a last second defense.
Yeah, the problem is that HateMe hasn't scouted. That's the thing. Like, he knows about the 2 Rex. He saw 3 Reapers, so that looks macro. He knows that there's a natural base as well, but that's it. That's all the information he has. He doesn't know if there's a factory and a starport behind this and a 3rd CC being built on the high ground. He doesn't know if it's a more standard variation. There it is. 3rd CC is started, but the Marines are moving out.
Yeah, he sees the Marines moving out. I don't know if he saw how many there are or if just that there is a move out. And he's still droning. He's only making the Zerglings now, but there is no Baneling, there's no nothing.
Yeah, and you can defend this with pure Ling Queen if you have good positioning, so we'll see how this works out as the Marines are revealed. Every stim counts as well, by the way. Oliveira has to be careful because there are no medevacs to heal this.
Yeah, and there are a lot of queens gathered here. They don't have a lot of energy, so the transfuses will run out, but with good position, Oliveira will be overpowering this.
Yeah, the Lings all go down. The Queens are being focused down. No transfused energy remaining, and this is a good trade for Oliveira as he takes down every single Queen.
Yeah, the last 2 of them are trying to run away, trying to gather some energy, but it won't. It will be for naught, and they will be going down. Now it's just the Marines chasing drones.
Yeah, 4 more drones fall, and even though this all gets cleaned up, it was worth it here for Oliveira. He was able to trade well enough, and he does have that 3rd CC behind this. Now we're transitioning. Obviously, everything else is delayed for Oliveira, like the medevacs, the upgrades, all that good stuff. But that was quite a lot of Queens dying.
That was a lot of Queens. I actually wonder how many Queens fell right there. I think it was like 6 or 8, yeah.
Yeah, it was. Thankfully, not too much economic damage, but we can see that the worker counts are pretty similar, which is always a better thing for the Terran, as Oliveira is looking to eventually expand, take that 3rd base, and HateMe actually trying to sneak out a cheeky 4th.
Yeah, getting some expansions up, getting to layer as well, just, you know, working on his upgrades. Now he's getting the Baneling Nest. Also, it was 8 Queens, as we just confirmed. And I mean, he's making links, so that's good. Okay, HateMe is making links, so he will have links to transform into Banelings when the time comes. But will that be enough to stop like the you know, upgraded tech-wise army of Oliveira?
Yeah, it looks like HateMe may just stop droning here. He hasn't made workers for a while. He stopped at 50 workers, and now he's making nothing but lings. Mainly, this is about to finish up. This is going to be a pretty strong timing, as HateMe is about to hit with his 1-1 upgrades.
Yeah, there are a lot of marines. There is a tank as well for Oliveira. Now he has those medivacs, but he doesn't have a lot of SimCity at his third base, and his army is moving out as well, so his bases are not very well defended.
Yeah, we do see a Ling Bane run by being set up at the third base of Oliveira. We even bait out a bit of a stim. HateMe is fully aware of the positioning of Oliveira, and thankfully for HateMe, Oliveira is about to hit a base that doesn't exist. HateMe expanded towards the south, not here at the triangular third.
Yeah, Oliveira expected a base to be here, but there's none to be found. At the same time, his SCVs have to be evacuated because of these banelings, but not too many are falling yet. Ooh, but with that tank shot.
The friendly fire on those SCVs, 5 of them do go down. If we had one more shot, then another 5 would have fallen as well. But we do see Oliveira pushing forward with his army, trying to break in towards the natural base. Bailing speed is still a ways off.
It is, but this is still a lot of Link Bane, so Oliveira has to be careful. This tank will probably be going down as it cannot be saved. The Banelings are being sniped down, but still a lot of Marines will fall.
A lot of Marines do fall, but that was still a pretty gas-efficient trade for Oliveira. He trades 1 tank for a lot of Banelings. Meanwhile, this southern base, it's nice, it's cheeky, it was hidden, but it has been found and is very isolated. That hatchery, I believe, is going to be targeted down.
Yeah, that's what it looks like, as HateMe was focusing on defending his main base, so his links are a bit late to the party, and the base will be going down.
Yeah, again, that was the downside of that hatchery. It's just so far away, it's so isolated, it takes so long to transfer over and to defend it. And HateMe is now stuck on 3 bases. Oliveira still doing a lot of damage, still active with a lot of these drops, with a lot of these Marines, looking to pull HateMe apart.
Yeah, at the same time, there are more run-bys coming from HateMe, but they are not doing a lot of damage to Oliveira anymore, as he was able to set up his bases. He will be getting this sensor tower now as well, so that will definitely help protecting him there.
Yeah, and unfortunately, even though HateMe had a really strong 1-1 timing, he was a little bit delayed with his 2-2 upgrades, and as a result, Oliveira has caught up. Meanwhile, this double drop, oh my god, catches another 2 queens.
Yeah, Queens are having a bad time here. At the same time, the main army of Oliveira is moving towards the south. There is Lingbane force waiting there, but I mean, with good setup, he should be able to take it over.
Yeah, the tanks are pushing forward. There's not a lot of creep out here either, so that's going to make it even more difficult for HateMe to really try and bust through this location. We do have a scan. HateMe trying to rebuild this space. He's coming in from behind as well.
Oh yeah, the tanks are being left behind a little bit, but there are more Marines to back them up, and even though the tanks will fall, most of this Lingbane will as well.
Yeah, the Banelings get some decent connections towards the end there. We had a good split, but the Banelings did manage to get on top of those Marines. HateMe will clean it up. He will save his 4th.
At the same time, we have Oliveira expanding to his own 4th base, but he has to defend his 3rd as the Lingbane 4 is now coming towards him.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like the sensor tower will go down, so that'll mean another future run-by will be able to go by unscattered. It'll be a little bit easier to pull that off. Meanwhile, we can see the danger that HateMe's natural is in. Because he didn't take the triangular 3rd as his 4th, he doesn't have a lot of creep thread there, and Oliveira is kind of abusing, or has been abusing that position, picking off reinforcements, picking off whatever he can.
Yeah, every time Oliveira is just diving in slightly into the creep, just taking down a unit or 2 every now and then. Now with the Widow Mines, very nice shots on the Lingbane.
Yeah, very juicy connections from Oliveira. We do still have plenty of Lingbane to defend, but he has to push off a creep into a minefield.
Yeah, there's a minefield, there are tanks, there's more Marine waiting. There is still a lot of the Lingbane, so they will be taking down some of the units of Oliveira, but not a lot of them.
Yeah, and with that, GG gets called, and Oliveira will take game number 1 off of a very aggressive opener, and I appreciate that. I think a lot of people expect Oliveira to come in more macro-oriented style, but no, here he was quite aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like it was by no means like cheesy, but it was definitely a very aggressive style. Like he wanted to take the initiative in this game. He didn't want to let HateMe play his thing and just wait for him. He just wanted to take the game.
Yeah, Exactly. GG, very well played, Oliveira. Playing with this new style that Beyond has been popularizing over the past couple of months, going for these 2-racks openers, and again, it can be really difficult to distinguish what exactly is happening behind it as well if you don't go for a full-up scout. So HateMe was playing blind, he was playing in the dark, and we saw Oliveira from the get-go just doing so much damage. Even before the 4-racks push, we saw him cancel the third base twice, right, with his Reapers.
Yeah, he did. So this was already quite a bit of a loss for HateMe, but we'll see how it goes on the second map, as we do have Ancient Cistern coming as map number 2.
Yeah, and this isn't a bad map for a 2-racks opener as well, so we'll see if Oliveira will go for it. Once again, it's a little bit less safe just because there's no ramp going into the natural, so your buildings are going to be a little bit more exposed. And HateMe could try and abuse that as well. I'm curious because Bjorn is so good at defending against Roach all-ins with that 2-racks opener. Like, Bjorn is so well practiced. We've seen him just demolish Dark in those kind of ZVTs. But I haven't seen Oliveira try it. I haven't seen his Roach defense.
I wonder if that is what we're gonna see from HateMe there. If he's gonna go for the Roaches, or if it's gonna be like, once again, more of a Link Bane style.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see, especially depending on what the opener from Oliveira will be as we're loading into game number 2 and spawning in the top right-hand corner for Platinum Heroes. It is HateMe.
And in the bottom left, in the red, it is Oliveira for DKZ.
And this time, it looks like Oliveira won't be taking the risk. He is going to be throwing down his racks at a more standard location on top of his ramp.
Yeah, definitely being a bit more safe. I mean, after he saw like a lot of Link Bane from HateMe, like you never know if he's not gonna like Link Flood or something, so he went for the safer option, but it looks like HateMe is going a bit like kind of for the same thing.
Yeah, HateMe gonna be going for a hatch gas pool opener. He's just scouting around with his Overlord, which I think is really smart, especially after what happened in game 1. I wouldn't put it past Oliveira to proxy racks HateMe, so he's just making sure that he's safe against that sort of thing.
I mean, true, but also, if you remember, last time HateMe didn't scout like Oliveira's base at all, because his Overlords were busy just flying around the map.
It's true. It's a bit of a double-edged sword here as HateMe is making his way across the map. His Overlords again just confirming that there is no proxy. He's feeling safe at home, and we can see Oliveira's going for a standard racks expand as well. No 2-rack shenanigans.
Yeah, that SCV scout going to the other side of the map as well, so more of a regular build there, and we'll see what Oliveira wants to do with it.
Yeah, exactly. We have seen Oliveira flirt with mech before. That has happened. So it's not out of the realm of possibility here for Oliveira to whip that out if he wants to. We could, of course, see Marine or like just regular bio as well. But I do think that Ancient Cistern is maybe a better map for mech if he wanted to do that.
Don't say that aloud.
Oh no.
Oh no.
We're gonna be here for a while, Cooper.
I looked at the matches, I was like, this is gonna be a quick series, right?
No.
Oh.
We'll see. As even if we do have mech, we have seen some very aggressive styles of it.
We have first CC before Starport.
Yes, we do have a macro opener coming out from Oliveira with that third CC. Isn't too concerned with dealing too much damage early on. Is going for a more macro-oriented game.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Just, switching his
buildings.
No!
Ugh. It's okay, we didn't see that. It's fine.
Nobody saw that. Nobody say anything. It didn't happen.
Yeah. The observer totally didn't zoom in on it specifically so we could shame him.
No, nothing happened. Nothing happened. You saw nothing.
Shaking my head. As we are getting into our standard setup as well, we have our tech lab on the racks. We have a starport. We could see an add-on swap for a Banshee opener as well, which would make plenty of sense. And again, this still does leave the door open for mech if we want to go in that direction.
Yeah, something tells me it is not gonna be mech, but it still could be, as you said. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. For the time being, we will have these Hellions for a bit of a control of the map, you know, to check if maybe there can be some damage done to the Zerg early on. And we do have this Banshee coming in.
Yeah, we did see the add-on swap on the racks and the starport. Cloak is commencing. Banshees are going to be on the way. And this is just a great way to assert yourself on the map to get a little bit of economic damage to keep the creep at bay as you do get into a third CC, as the third CC is finishing up.
Yeah, the Hellions are trying to get in, but the Queens are in position to deflect them for the time being. And ooh, even the Overlord gets killed at the base, but it did already scout the base of Oliveira, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, did scout it. HateMe is fully aware of Cloak. He did see it researching, so he knows that he needs some spores soon, and there we go. 3 spores are on the way. We have plenty of queens in production as well. These Banshees shouldn't get out of hand. Meanwhile, additional Raxes are thrown down. It is going to be Bio.
This is where I'm like, oh, thank god it's Bio, and then it's like half an hour game of just Bio.
Yeah, that's fine, though. We like that, but we like that.
I mean, depends.
As HateMe is responding in a standard fashion as well, did prioritize that lair. It was a 4-minute 30 lair, which goes into a really nice timing of a Bailey Nest. This is very safe play out of HateMe. Because of this, he's going to be delaying his Evo Chambers. He's going to be delaying his upgrades in favor of Bailing Speed.
And that definitely will be useful. For the time being, we have these Hellions going around, but once again, they were not able to get any damage. They just, you know, killed some Cryptomors. We'll see if the Banshees will fare any better, but with the Spores already done and even Overseer on the way, it probably should be fine for HateMe.
Yeah, it should be okay. There's the Overseer. The Queens are in position. The Banshees are forced back. They barely managed to survive as well. So with that, they're going to be able to repair and come back a little bit later. Meanwhile, the Hellions are looking for an opening. But so far, the defense from HateMe has been quite solid.
Yeah, definitely. Like, Oliveira was going for a bit of a two-prong attack, but HateMe was prepared for both of those, and he suffered absolutely no damage.
Very nicely done. As now Oliveira is setting up his third base behind this, we have our upgrades on the way. Medevacs are on the horizon as well, so Oliveira is soon about to go into his patented multi-pronged aggression into all of his drop play. We saw how well he was executing that last game, and we're going to be seeing that again. Yeah,
that definitely will. But we'll have to wait for that a little bit longer, as both players have to build up their forces, and there are 3 queens at this hatchery. Oh my god.
I mean, you need the queens, especially against 2 banshees. You have to take them seriously. You got to be careful. As we do see a changeling spotting the army, spotting the move out. So HateMe is aware of the army coming his way. We can see 1-1 on the horizon. Again, Oliveira, his upgrade is going to be slightly faster, so he's going to have these small windows of opportunity, and he's also going bio mine as well, investing quite heavily into these widow mines.
Yeah, I feel like something important to note is that bailing speed is not there yet, and it won't be for a while, but neither will be combat shields, so I guess we'll just have to see who dances better with the bailings and marines.
Yeah, I mentioned this earlier, because of the delayed Evo Chambers, this bailing speed is late. It looks like HateMe did accidentally forget it for a little bit there. It should be done by now. So because of that, he's going to be in a little bit of danger here. He's going to have to try and flirt and dance with this army, and hopefully not to commit too hard.
Yeah, I mean, for the time being, he will be clean creep. Now the bailings are trying to come in, but they are coming one by one, and they are being sniped quite easily.
Exactly. Meanwhile, we do see us around from behind. Mine shots do go off, and it looks like Oliveira, he picks up and goes straight to the main. Yeah,
very nicely done. Very nice control from Oliveira, but there are a lot of spores here, so he has to be careful about these medivacs. One of them will be going down.
Yeah, one medevac does go down to those spores. The second medevac does take a lot of hits of these queens as well. Does have to be very careful as he does back the hell off. Meanwhile, as all this has been happening, we have a push on the right-hand side of the map.
Yeah, and there are Hellbats, there are Banshees here as well, so this team won't be quite as effective, but there is a lot of it here.
Yeah, and the mine shots were absolutely insane. The Bailings all go down to the mines. We have a secondary squad finishing up with Bailings, and it looks like that should barely be enough to hold on.
Yeah, I mean, the Banshees are still there in the air, but the Queens should be able to deal with them eventually, so they can't stay here too long.
Yeah, but great target firing. The Banshees pick off the remaining Bailings as well, and they manage to barely squeeze away from those Queens, and they survive.
Yeah, with that, HateMe has time to go for a hive.
Yeah, the Hive is on the horizon. Thankfully, Baneling Speed is now done for our Zerg player. He's got 2-2 on the way as well. But does he have enough Banelings to defend? That is the question, because Oliveira is not stopping.
Hey, it looks like even the Zerglings are helping a lot, but they are off creep, and now the Widowmine shots are starting to get some great damage, and most of this link wave will be cleaned up, but there's still more reinforcements coming.
Yeah, we saw a little bit of friendly fire from those Widowmines. So a lot of the Marines do get cleaned up. Meanwhile, on the right-hand side, the Banshees are back. They're going to be picking up a couple of these Queens, but HateMe has dealt with the main army. He survives, and he's got a decent drone count. He's got the Hive on the way, but what he is really lacking is creep. A lot of the creep has been kept at bay because of all the aggression from Oliveira.
Oh yeah, and the aggression is not stopping. There is this Widowmine drop hiding behind the bases, and there's another Marine squad just going forward, cleaning the creep even more.
Yeah, basically the creep is connecting the bases, and that's it. There is very little creep spread out on the map. Meanwhile, would you have a mine drop coming in towards the northern base? No reaction.
No reaction. 7 drones going down. At the same time, the main army is coming forward on the east, and there's a lot of links here, but not a lot of banelings.
Oh my god, but there's a lot of mines, and the mine shots are going to be going off on so much of that Lingbane army, and we can see Oliveira's macro is just gone uninterrupted. He's almost maxed at this point.
Yeah, HateMe decides to counter-attack, but at the same time he will be getting a lot of losses on his side. I don't know if his Lingbane attack can do a lot to Oliveira if there are reinforcements at the base, and this hive may be going down.
Yeah, the Hive is going to go down. We get to the picture-in-picture. We defend back at home as well. GG gets called, and Oliveira will take the 2-0.
GG. Oliveira looks a bit stressed, not gonna lie, but it's probably because of these technical issues at the beginning of the game.
Yeah. The lag that he was experiencing in game 1 probably set the mood for him, and he's probably a little bit frustrated as a result. But regardless, GG, well played. A solid result there from Oliveira. Again, the constant harass, the constant pressure from his Marines, the mine shots as well. He was trading so insanely efficiently, and HateMe was barely holding on, barely surviving until eventually it became too much.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like, HateMe had pretty good defenses for a lot of this second game especially, but yeah, over time, like, slowly Oliveira just overpowered him with his constant aggression.
Yeah, exactly. And it wasn't just his trades against the army. We saw it come into full play at the end there. Just there was no creep on the map at all. Like, HateMe was trying to spread it, but every single time Oliveira was there to clean it up, it meant that fighting the army was that much more difficult. And even in the lead up as well, Oliveira, his target firing on those banelings every single time was insane. Again, a really solid result. And there's, again, a reason why he's a world champion and why he should be rated higher than a B.
Yeah, like, I mean, look, at least an A, okay? Like, I understand that maybe he's, like, you know, not in such a top shape as he was right at IEM, but he is at least an A, okay?
Give him an A. Give me an A, alright? Shaking my head. But I know that the WTL admins, they can be harsh to their own sometimes. They can be harsh to their own just because they want and they expect so much from Oliveira. Shaking my head.
Is that like that parent trope? Like...
I think so.
Oh,
yeah.
oh no.
Unironically.
Oh
god. But regardless, Oliveira does have a solid performance here for his team, and he sets up DKZ Gaming for success. But we'll see if the rest of his team can pull through, as we have a PVZ coming up next.
Yeah, but I mean, it's none other than Dark playing that PVZ, so I feel like he is pretty favored in this matchup. I mean, we never know what DNS may pull off.
Yeah, I do think that Dark is favored, and I worry a little bit for DNS. So for the past 2 weeks, Dark has been going for non-stop all-ins against Protoss. It's been like 3 weeks since I've seen like a solid macro game out of him. Like, Dark, it doesn't matter if he's up against Classic, if he's up against Hero, if he's up against Max Packs. Dark has been so aggressive recently. I don't know why. I don't know what's changed recently, but
he got traumatized. It's like, no, never again. Screw it, just going all out.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if that's gonna translate over into WTL as well, because I hope DNS has been paying attention, because Dark has got a lot of very disgusting builds. He's got a lot of Link Queen Nidus all-ins. He's got some Roach Queen Nidus all-ins. He's got proxy hatches. He's got a lot at his fingertips that he's willing to throw out.
Yeah, and he's got no chill lately. He's just going for it. And it's like, oh, you saw Nidus? No, there are like 3 more on the map. Don't worry about it.
Exactly. So we're going to be looking here at the Platinum Heroes players to see how prepared they are and how ready they are for their opponents, as we're just seeing some stats coming out here. Dark, A tier. Form 6? I don't know about that. That's...
I mean...
I question some of these numbers sometimes. I question them.
Sometimes? But yeah. I wanted to say something and I forgot. Guys, exclamation mark, Kuro has bad memory. Because this is not the first time.
So good, so good. So, yeah, we do have some back-to-back stats here. Dark, apparently an A-class player. I mean, I feel like at bare minimum he should be an A, but maybe an S-tier player as well. He is the best Zerg player in all of South Korea. Recently, he has been struggling a little bit against players like Hero, and players like Maru especially. He has been struggling, don't get me wrong. But against everyone else, Dark has been on fire. He's been shutting down all other kinds of Protosses.
Oh, I remember what I wanted to say. Because we have here, in the blue, the Protoss DNS.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner for DKZ Gaming, it is Dark.
And what I was about to say is that you say that like Dark has been going for a lot of these disgusting builds, like in a lot of tournaments. But you know what that also means? It means that he's playing in a lot of tournaments, which means there's a lot of material on him. Like there's a lot of games that can be viewed by DNS, and maybe he can prepare for some of these builds.
Yeah, I would hope so. I would really hope so. I hope DNS has been doing his homework, because you're right. There is a lot of material out there on Dark. He plays multiple times a week. Every single week he plays in KSL, he plays in ESL Asia, he plays in ESL Americas, he plays in Kung Fu Cup as well. And he's always being covered by someone, by at least the CranKy Ducklings, and more often than not, some other casters as well. So, yeah, we can study him, but even if you do, does it matter? Is it enough to overcome the might that is Dark?
Yeah, I mean, you may know what's coming, but can you stop it?
That is the question. As Dark is going to be going for a standard hatch gas pool opener. Very stock standard here. Nothing too crazy, which is surprising to me. We have seen Dark go for pool first quite a lot. We have seen him go for even gas pool openers. But for the time being, everything is looking chill from the side of our Zerg player.
No, see, you know what this is? Because you said that, like, how he's going for all these crazy builds. It's like, you know what? They don't expect me to just play straight up, do they?
Yeah. And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if that's his mentality right now, especially in WTL. I know, especially because GSL, the season is over. World Team League is the most important tournament for a lot of these players, for a lot of these, especially Chinese-based teams. Like, this is where all of their focus is being, or all their, like, practice is being focused on. So, yeah, Dark is taking this very seriously, and for the time being, standard openers from everyone.
So I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see what they want to go for, as we do see DNS going for that Stargate. So, I mean, definitely a good choice, and we'll see what he can do with it.
Yeah. Stargate opener should be into Oracle, should be into a third base behind it, but we'll keep an eye on DNS again. Typically, when it comes to these teams going up against DKZ Gaming, we have to be prepared. We have to come up with some different strategy, because their opponents are just the clear favorites.
Yeah, this adapts a little bit late to the party. Get some damage done on the drones, but it should be here to defend from the Zerglings. And yeah, everybody being very chill. Dark getting his third base in the natural. And we do have an Oracle on the way.
Yeah, the first Oracle is on the way. We should be getting a second Oracle behind this. If the Adepts are kept at home, DNS should be going for his third base as well. So again, this is the current meta of ZVP nowadays. You know, thanks to Hero, he did kind of popularize all of this. It lead the way for Protosses against Zergs, and we'll be getting some more of him later on tonight.
My favorite part is like when the hero builds became popular, like hero kind of stopped playing them. It's like, yeah. He's too hipster for that. This is popular now.
He is a big hipster, and this is what I was talking about. I am not crazy. Dark, he throws down his lair at a very fast timing. That is a 3-minute 30 lair from Dark.
Yeah, and a bunch of links as well to harass a bit on the other side of the map. So we'll see what he will do with that lair. For the timing, the adepts have to stay on the side of the NS, and the Oracle is trying to see if it can do any damage. It will get 4 drones, so that's nice.
Yeah, I'm feeling Nidus, but we'll see, as Dark is doing the best job he can to actually delay the third base as well. Forces the activation on that Pulsar beam from DNS, so again, doing a lot of inadvertent damage. We haven't taken any additional gases, but we are still continuing Queen production. I'm holding my breath here. I'm waiting to see what tech is thrown down from Dark.
Yeah, it is the Nidus. The Nidus is coming, so I guess it will be that Link Queen Nidus that we were talking about. And on the side of the NS, we have a Twilight Council coming, so I guess he will be staying on the ground army for a little while, and we'll see if he has enough to hold this. The Oracles will be coming in, but can they scout it?
Oh, they do come across the night. It's a very important scout from DNS, and they shouldn't be a surprise to him. There's a reason why we brought up Link Queen Nidus all in before, and that's because this is a very common build from Dark in ZVP. We see it more than once a week, to be honest, at this point, and DNS has to prepare back at home.
I like how the observer pointed out that there's this one dark spot, and immediately DNS is raiding units into that spot.
Yeah, there we go. Pylon is thrown down in that location. Nidus is going to be going up in between the natural and the third base. We have Glaives as a follow-up. And I do love this. The Adepts are going to be able to clean up the Lings, but what is going to be the answer to these Queens as we have a Void Ray in production?
Yeah, I mean, that's nice and all, but will the Adepts be able to survive until the Glaives is done? Because, I mean, the Lings are already here, the second Nidus is going in the main base, and Probes are only there to defend. The Lings are already getting in.
Yeah, exactly. The wall is not a wall. The Lings have busted on through. They take down that shield battery. We have more Niduses on the way, but the Queens have to be careful as they are being forced back. We do have a clutch transfuse going to be going down on the forward Queen, and so far, DNS, he's actually holding relatively well here.
Yeah, the wall is being resealed. There's more Adepts coming in. He's still waiting on the Glaives, but there are so many Lings streaming in.
So many Lings, but the Adepts don't care. The Adepts want to fight against Lings. They have a harder time here against the Queens, though, as it looks like Dark is not stopping. He's still pumping out more Queens, more Lings behind this. He still wants to break DNS.
Yeah, he even caught a glimpse of the natural base. They put the Nidus straight inside of it, on the other side of the wall, so the wall will not be a problem for him anymore. And there are still a few Queens left, but now the Void Ray is here.
Yeah, the Void Ray has arrived. We have another warp in of Adepts. The Lings are trying to go for a surround here. The Queens do pop out on the other side of the wall through that Nidus.
Yeah, they will be dealing with that Oracle most likely. The Overcharge is trying... the Shield Battery is trying to save it, but eventually DNS has to give up this position.
Yeah, he is going to have to give up that position. The Adepts are falling left and right. He's having a hard time trading efficiently against all these Queens. The Lings will not stop going. And now Dark has to make a choice. Is he going to go for the natural? It looks like he will, as the Cyber Core is under threat.
Yeah, the Queens are focusing on the natural wall. They're keeping the Void Ray at bay. It's already very damaged, so he has to be careful how he positions it. The Force Field will delay the Zerg for a little while, but at the same time, he can just take the third.
Yeah, now that the Cyber Core is dead, we can't really warp in too much else. No, it looks like a backup Cyber Core was thrown down from DNS. Great foresight from our Protoss player here, as this all-in has taken quite some time. We're going to be throwing down another overcharge here at the third base location, but it looks like the third is about to be broken.
Yeah, the overcharge is nice, but there's not a lot to be overcharged, and the shield battery gets focused as well. There's still more Queens coming. The Adepts are trying to do their best, but they're still being overpowered.
Yeah, they really are. The third Nexus is going to be going down. That natural wall is looking quite weak, to be honest. The Queens are looking to power on through, and behind this, Dark is throwing down a Roach Warren. He is droning. He is looking to try and at least saturate his gases so he can go into Roach production.
Yeah, the Queens are starting to run out of energy, so that is a bit of an issue, but there are new ones coming in as reinforcements, and they should be able to help this army. The Adepts have once again have to move back into the natural base, and I guess Dark is continuing the siege here, but once again these Queens are starting to run low.
And again, bearing in mind the Dark is droning, like he's transitioning out of this as well. He is content to at least kill the third base, and that is it. These Glaive Depths have been stuck at home, and the transition from DNS is delayed. It looks like DNS wants to get into Blink and Disruptors with that Robotics Bay, but it's going to take a while to get into that.
Yeah, and in the meantime, the Queens will be trying to do any damage they can, and eventually they are starting to get overpowered, so they will be retreating to the Nidus, but the Lynx are staying around.
Yeah, and again, I do think that a big reason for this defense is DNS going for the Glaive follow-up. Like, I do think it was really smart, especially as a reaction upon seeing the Nidus. We saw how well those Adepts were doing and how efficiently they were trading against all those Lings.
Yeah, against Lynx they were doing a pretty good job, even though they were surrounded every now and then, which made it a bit harder for them to move around the bases. They did deal quite a lot of damage to that army. The Queens were the main problem for the ENS there, but now that they are gone, he will be able to slowly rebuild.
Yeah, exactly. DNS is still stuck on 2 bases, but there we go. We do have Colossus production commencing. We have that second robo is done as well, so we can get into double Colossus production as well. Meanwhile, Dark is forced to transition. He isn't just making roaches, he also has a Hydra Den on the way as well.
Which will definitely be a neat addition, considering there are still these oracles flying around, and I mean DNS does have the access to the Stargate, so he may be throwing in a few more air units, but it doesn't look likely at the time being.
Yeah, exactly. He's still going to be focusing on rounding out his ground toss army again. Because of the openers, his ground toss army is very low quality. Blink is still on the way, doesn't have a forge, doesn't have any upgrades, still working on his robo units as well. So it's going to take a while for DNS to really round himself out. And this is giving a big opportunity for Dark to come back.
Yeah, also I feel like it's pretty important as well that while the Queens didn't win the fight for Dark, they also, a lot of them didn't die, and he just like moved back to the position. So these oracles trying to fly in, they are met with solid resistance.
Yeah, the Queens are still alive. A couple of Adepts do shade across them out to harass, but no, they're going to be cleaned up as well. They don't really have too much going for them. And yeah, I do think this is a really interesting transition from Dark. I'm curious if he's going to be going into Lurkers, because he hasn't thrown down a Lurker Den yet, I don't believe, and he does have Hydra range on the way.
I guess we're just going Roach Hydra? Question mark?
Yeah, for the time being, we are going Roach Hydra, which isn't a bad composition. We should be seeing the Lurker Den soon, though, because that's going to be really what we need, especially against a ground toss army with Colossi and Disruptors.
Yeah, that definitely would be useful, but I mean, it's not there yet, and Dark is just taking more bases, making sure he expands, making sure he has the economy to keep this up. At the same time, DNS is working on his robo units, adding more Colossi, adding more Disruptors, and the Templar Archives is on the way as well.
Yeah, and I think this also shows how behind DNS was tech-wise, because Dark is about to max out. He is quite close here to reaching that 200 supply, and DNS, we need a good eye on his army. I think he's got 2 Disruptors. I think he has 2 Colossi as well, which is okay. Okay, it looks like, no, never mind. He has 4 Colossi. Okay, he's going to be doing a little bit better here. With the high ground, he can hold on to his third.
Yeah, there is a distraction Nidus going on on the other side of this base, so I guess DNS will have to pick his battles and make sure he is defended on both fronts, as I'm not sure if there's anything in the Nidus, but it looks like that maybe the Queens. Yeah.
Well, yeah, the Queens, they were left in the Nidus. They do finally pop out. They're going to be able to spread a creep from that position and back off. It's the Eric move. It's just spreading creep here out on the map. You love to see it. Dark, upon seeing that army, this is now Dark with a late transition. Upon seeing all those Colossi and Disruptors, now he throws down a Lurker Den. Now he throws down an Infestation Bit to get into Hive Tech. And now suddenly DNS has a pretty big window here where he's going to be relatively safe and he can actually push out.
Yeah, and even though Dark is almost maxed out, like his army doesn't look all that scary, because I think it's not all in the one place right at the moment. And with all of these Colossi and Disruptors, this may be a good move for DNS. He's also shading some Adepts to make sure he keeps the harassment going. Yeah,
but Dark is setting up a surround. He's looking to collapse on this army from behind as well. 360 Zerg here. But as you were saying, it's Roaches, it's Hydras, it's Queens. It's not the most high-quality army from Dark. Is it going to be enough?
I mean, looks like it barely is. The Queens are definitely packing quite a punch, together with the transfusers as well, because now they have all the energy they want.
Yeah, and It was kind of one and done here for DNS. He gets knocked down to 2 Colossi, 1 a Disruptor remaining, and Dark immediately remaxes. DNS needs far more time to remax himself.
Yeah, at the same time, he was losing a few probes on his own 4th base, as there are actually still links running around the map, and they're just, chipping a bit of damage every now and then.
Yeah, they're just getting whatever they can at that new would-be 4th base, but Dark has remaxed. He has a hive on the way. Lurkers are now in production as well, and that is of course going to be the answer to this ground toss army, as DNS is looking to be completely out of position.
Yeah, the roaches are moving straight into the 4th base, and it will be getting demolished. I don't know if the Nexus will fall, but the probes are.
Yeah, the probes are, as the Nexus goes down, 9 workers as well. Again, this isn't the most efficient army, it's pure roach, so Dark is going to lose all of this, but he's going to be rebuilding with a more efficient army. He's rebuilding with Hydras and soon-to-be Lurkers.
Yeah, and 12 probes fall total, as there was another run by in the 3rd base as well, so quite big losses for DNS, as he has to focus on building his army right now, not necessarily workers.
Well, exactly, does have to rebuild that army. Meanwhile, the lurker count is getting higher and higher. That's a lot of lurkers already out. I want to say we have around 13 to 15 lurkers already from Dark. And there's no real answer. Like, disruptors are okay. They can be okay against lurkers in low numbers. It's going to be a close fight.
The sneaky 2 lurkers on the ramp as well, just, waiting for their moment, as DNS is once again walking into the same spot. But, he notices that there's a run by.
Yeah, there is a bit of a roach and lurker run by. Do we have detection available? It looks like we do, and Dark is going to be forced back. At the same time, we have a Nidus being thrown down towards the northern portion of the map. Dark just trying to contain DNS and pull him apart.
Yeah, Dark is making sure that there's always 2 different things. The Nidus is straight in the place of the Nexus, so he can't even expand because of it.
Yeah, can't even expand. He's forcing DNS to take the center base instead because he has to expand somewhere. And that's going to be that much more exposed to the lurkers of Dark.
It's such a little detail, but it's so annoying. Like, just put the Nidus straight where the Nexus should be.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, it takes a while for the Nidus to die. It takes a while for the creep to be cleaned up as well. As we do see, Dark is still sharking around with all those roaches again. He needs to get rid of them. Like, it's just such a supply inefficient army. He has to throw them away, and it looks like he won't just throw them away. It looks like he's going to be able to cancel the 4th base once again.
Yeah, the cancel is once again being forced. The roaches may be trapped here, and they may be going down, but once again, roaches are not the most important part of Dark's army, as he still has all of these lurkers going behind.
Yeah, exactly. Dark wants to get rid of these roaches, and he's doing so well stutter stepping. He's going to be able to get a couple of units. He gets an Archon towards the end as well, and even forces the army to fight in range of that lurker. So not too bad of a trade here from Dark as he remaxes on Hydra, Lurker, Viper.
Yeah, and DNS is once again forced to retake this base, and I mean, the more time is passing by, like the bigger advantage he has. But ooh, the disruptor shots.
Yeah, the purification of it is going to be going off, and a lot of lurkers do go down. Beautiful connections here from DNS. He needed something like this to go his way, and he was able to come across the lurker army. But he needs that to happen again. There's still quite a lot of lurkers that he has to contend against.
Yeah, there's still quite a lot of them. I mean, 4, I think, fell to the disruptors, but with the queens to transfuse, these lurkers are still quite a threat. At the same time, there is a run by being prepared in the north.
Yeah, the run by does have some lurkers, does have some vipers as well. We can see DNS just dancing with the main lurker army. His forces are busy right now. They are just being kept at bay, and that does leave an opening here to deny the 4th base again for... I can't even remember how many times the space has been denied.
Yeah, now DNS is moving back to defend, but he may be cut off by these lurkers, but it looks like they are being chased away. But the longer he stalls, the more he loses. Like, 17 probes are already falling down.
Yeah, exactly. And there was some great feedbacks on those Vipers. We can see DNS's main army is cleaning up whatever lurkers he comes across, but he's still losing so much in the process, as you were saying. Sure, the main army is okay from DNS, but he's losing base after base, probe after probe.
Yeah, and even the natural wall is starting to fall. Even with the overcharge, it's not quite enough, although this Zealot is holding up pretty well. But
Yeah.
as you said, like even if DNS cleans up this army, like he has lost a lot, and he will be stuck on 2 bases. One of them is half mining.
Yeah, and at the same time, the lurkers show up at the third base as well, and more probes are going to be falling here. The stalkers blink forward on top of the lurkers, and so many stalkers will fall.
Yeah, so many of them will fall. The others are badly damaged as well. And once again, like, can DNS remake this army at this point? Like, he has lost so much, and he can't even expand anywhere.
Yeah, he's just so completely all in at this point. He has to end the game with 2 Archons, 2 Colossi, and 1 Disruptor, and that just isn't going to happen. Dark has pulled him apart successfully. It took a while, but it was kind of a death by 1,000 cuts sort of thing, as the initial all-in didn't overwhelm DNS, it didn't end the game, but it did cripple him enough, and now Dark just has an insane position.
Yeah, I guess it's a bit more of the death by 1,000 cuts kind of situation, and eventually the GG is called. Dark is taking this game.
GG, well played. Dark just scratching his head a little bit towards the end there, being like, hey, could have left earlier.
Wow.
And yeah, Dark takes a 1-0 lead. But what I will say is that, again, DNS had a really smart reaction and response to the Ling Queen Nidus all-in. I do think that DNS was holding his own for quite some time there against Dark. Like, for a while there, I was like, yo, is Dark overcommitting? Is he just throwing away too much at this point?
Yeah, like the beginning of the game was definitely fine for DNS. Like, sure, he suffered quite a lot of losses, but so did Dark, and he was able to hold back for the time being. But afterwards, like, Dark just didn't let him rebuild. Essentially, he didn't let him expand. Like, every time DNS tries to, you know, advance in his tech, advance in his army, advance in his economy, like, Dark was there to, like, you know, knock him back down.
Yeah, exactly. He was just constantly suffocating DNS. DNS never really got a 4th base up and running. Whenever he did, he was denied it time and time again. So yeah, DNS maybe having a hard time getting there to that point, having a hard time just turtling up and getting a good enough economy to sustain his army, because his army for a while was looking really good, and then we saw that big 360 surround. We saw that big fight where Dark had Queen, Roach, Hydra, really awkward army, to be honest, but like, he took a good enough fight, and after that moment, DNS had a really hard time rebuilding.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like the queens were really the MVP of this game for Dark, because, as we said, like, he made a lot of queens for this Nidus all-in that, you know, didn't quite work out, but he didn't lose those queens. Like, he had a huge queen army, and that queen army came into play later on in the game as well.
Yeah, it really did, and I assumed that he was going to try and throw away some of those queens because that was a lot of supply, but no, they came in clutch in a lot of the defenses as well. He was able to make use of them. He was able to find a home for them. And with that, Dark takes a 1-0 lead. But now we're going to be getting into game number 2. DNS has chosen the staging ground to be Royal Blood.
Yeah, and I guess we'll see if Dark wants to once again go for some Nidus shenanigans, or maybe some other flavor of the game.
Well, this wouldn't be a bad map for a proxy hatch, so we'll see what we get here, as in the bottom left-hand corner of Royal Blood we have, for Platinum Heroes, DNS.
And in the top right we have our Red Zerg representing DKZ Gaming, Dark.
When we can see his drones are being kept back at home. In game 1, we saw the infamous Ling Queen Nidus all-in from Dark. Game 2, again, he has plenty more up his sleeve. He has different variations of Nidus all-ins as well. He does have the Queen Roach all-in. He has proxy hatches, which he will not be whipping out here in game 2, as the drones are just looking to expand and take regular bases. But he even has other later mid-game Roach timings that he can go for as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, last game started quite normally as well. Like, it didn't look like much was going to happen until he went for that quick lair.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're going to be keeping our eye on. It's not necessarily the openers that tip you off, it's the follow-up from Dark, which can be very, very aggressive and very telling. Again, DNS, his scouting was so on point last game, he was able to recognize what was happening, but he just... yeah, maybe not the best reaction. Again, I do love the Glaive Adept follow-up, but instead of going into Void Ray production, making use of his Stargate, maybe making use of the Robo instead, getting Immortals out. Like, as you were saying, we needed a better answer to those queens.
Definitely. Like, the queens were winning the battles there for Dark, and DNS didn't quite have the response to them. And I guess we'll see if he will this time, as, I mean, he also isn't going for any sort of proxy or any of the like, so I guess we will see if this time he will get to, like, you know, actually do a build, or if he has to be defending against Dark's aggression once again.
Yeah, we'll see. As you were saying, Hatchgas pool coming out from Dark, he was forced to take the unnatural natural as well. So, you know, going to be a little bit more of an awkward start for him. Meanwhile, across map, DNS goes for the Gate Expand. As soon as the Cybercore is done, we should be seeing that first tech building, and it should be a Stargate, but he could mix things up with the Twilight Council.
He definitely could. I mean, he did go for Glaive Adepts last time, but that was more of a reaction to Dark Spirit, most likely. For the time being, we have that Stargate once again.
There we go. Stargate is on the way. This should be for the Oracle, which should be leading into a third base as well. So nothing crazy from DNS. Again, he doesn't really have that reputation. He's not known as a cheesy player. He's not known as an aggressive player. And we're kind of seeing that here and now. He kind of has his builds and he executes them well. And he can find some success with that.
Yeah. Once again, these two links will be running in as the Adept is shading on the other side of the map, so both players are able to scout each other quite well, although DNS isn't quite moving into the main.
Yeah, as we do see a slow Ling scout slipping into the main base of DNS, and he's going to be, or Dark is going to be able to get a free scout of the tech of choice. He does get eyes on the Stargate, and I believe he sees the first unit coming out as well. I believe he does see the Oracle.
Yeah, he very well maybe. I mean, even if he doesn't, I feel like at this point you kinda assume that this would be Oracles as they are the more popular choice, so he will be getting these spores and I guess there will be more queens.
Yeah, exactly. We do have those spores on the way. We have the queens as well. Meanwhile, we have exceeded the 3-minute 30 mark and there is no lair, so he's not going for the Ling Queen Nidus all in. So far, everything is looking a lot more standard, a lot more normal from Dark.
Yeah, so I don't want to say that we're gonna get a normal game because, I mean, it's Dark, but we may just get a more standard game.
Yeah, so far. That's, no, never mind.
No, never mind.
As Dark does start up his lair, this is going to be a little bit later. This will be a 4-minute lair. Again, still not a standard lair timing. Still notable and still early enough to be notable. And I'm really curious to see what it's going to be for. Meanwhile, the first Oracle does go down, but I believe the Oracle did at least see the lair timing.
Yeah, it probably did, so that there's at least this bit of information for DNS. Although it is a bit unfortunate that he ended up losing that Oracle in the end to the Spore. But I mean, you take what you can get, right?
Definitely, as we do see additional gases being taken. So from this lair, this could be for a Roach Nidus all-in. This could be for a Roach speed timing. But because of those gases, it should be for a Roach Warren. And there we go, the Roach Warren is thrown down for Dark.
Yeah, we will be having this Roach Warren, and we will be having Twilight Council on the other side. So once again, it will be the ground toss facing this composition. And DNS is going with a Forge as well, so I guess we're gonna be having Charge Dots versus Roaches?
Yeah, this could be for +1 charge. This could be for +1 Blink Stalkers, which is the other standard follow-up here. We'll keep our eye on Dark as he does morph in an Overseer. Is going to be looking to scout and figure out what his opponent is up to. Meanwhile, again, with that lair, we're going to be able to go into Roach Speed really quickly. As the Oracles are looking to deal some economic damage, and they do pick up a couple of drones.
Oh, always nice to get some bits of damage. And for the timing, it looks like it will be just straight up Roaches. There is no Nidus being thrown down quite yet. And DNS is currently on the offensive.
Yeah, he is on the offensive. The Adepts are looking to shade in towards the natural base. Drones are falling left and right. They're forced to attack as well. Even though we threw down that Roach Warren, we actually haven't made any Roaches at all.
Yeah, Dark is now making a lot of Zerglings in response, but those Zerglings won't be able to deal with Adepts too quickly.
Yeah, a lot of drones are falling here. A lot of great damage being done by DNS. But can he survive the counterattack? Because now we have to make use of all these lings that we did make. Meanwhile, the Oracles, they dive in once again and look at how many drones have fallen.
Yeah, 14 drones already dying, and those links that Dark just made won't be able to help against the oracles. They will be looking for some damage on the other side of the map, but he checks the wrong third base, and that gives a few seconds more for DNS to prepare.
Yeah, so I do think that initially Dark was planning to go for a Ling Roach all in, but because he's lost so many drones, he can't sustain it. He can't sustain that kind of economy, so he takes additional gases. He is droning quite heavily, and he throws out an infestation pit. It looks like he wants to get into Hydras. He may be thinking about rushing into Lurkers.
I mean, that wouldn't be too bad. I mean, Lurkers worked great for him last game, and DNS still doesn't have a lot of Robotech. His Robo is only going down now.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, with this Link counterattack is going to be able to at least force a warp in back at home. We do see the Stalkers pushing out across the map to deny the would-be fourth base. And this hatchery is under threat. We're going to have to cancel.
Yeah, the hatchery is under threat. The Ravagers are not quite able to deal with this army, so some of them may fall down as well. And even killing the Overlords can be annoying because, as we know, Roaches do take a lot of supply.
They do take a lot of supply. There is that very fast Hive coming out from Dark. There is that very fast Lurker Den as well. So yeah, so after taking all those economic losses, he wants to turtle. He wants to rush into Lurkers, and Lurkers will secure his defenses back at home. He may try and go for a Lurker timing across the map, which is a really risky thing to do. But again, after taking so many economic losses, I think he just wants to survive.
I mean, that's a fair choice, definitely, and we'll see if DNS can break the turtle defense. For the time being, he's remaining active, his oracles are diving in now and then, and his stalkers are still going around trying to see if there's any more damage to be done.
Yeah, exactly. And again, Stalkers can trade it incredibly efficiently here. Dark is going to try and catch them, but he has to be careful not to overextend. He's pushing past the halfway mark, throws down some vials, and Dark will back off.
Yeah, the oracles are chasing though, and they may be getting a few of the Ravagers, which definitely would be a nice one.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, DNS is getting his fourth base up and running on the right-hand side of the map. This time he should be able to get it fully operational. Meanwhile, the Lurker Den has just finished. Hydras are popping out. We're not wasting any time on any Hydra upgrades. I believe we want to morph in those Lurkers as soon as possible. Meanwhile, the Stalkers are still threatening the bases and cleaning up a lot of this creep.
Yeah, and I do wonder how this works out for DNS this time, because this time he was not like contained on his bases for the longest time. He will be losing a few stalkers being chased down here, but I mean, he currently has the advantage.
He does. He has the momentum right now. We have Colossi on the way. But as a Colossus are in production, there are those Lurkers that we were talking about.
Yeah.
5, 7 Lurkers now on the way. And again, this is just Dark's way to rush up in tech, get enough Lurkers, and now he should be able to defend against the Colossus timing. When I love this as well, Dark even throws down a Nidus, so he has the option to be aggressive as well.
Yeah, and I mean, we've seen him do a lot of the Lurker run-bys with the Nidus being involved, so that is definitely an option. And considering that DNS was able to take more bases, I mean, that also means that he has to defend more points, so it will be that much harder for him to be everywhere.
Yeah, DNS has to split up his army. He does have 2 Colossus on the right-hand side. He has the Blink Stalkers in the middle of the map, and he has Site Defense on the left. But we'll see if he can keep up with the aggression of Dark. Now that Dark has his Lurkers, he should be feeling pretty safe. He should be feeling, okay, now I can finally assert myself on the map. I don't know if you noticed, for the past couple of minutes, he has just been the defender. He's been stuck at home. Well, that could be about to change.
Yeah, I mean, we'll find out, because DNS is moving out for an attack, but he will run straight into Dark's army. These are just Roaches and Ravagers, but there are Lurkers behind them.
Yeah, but how many Lurkers? Because DNS, he smells blood. He's pushing on forward. The Lurkers are in position. We have a revelation on the army, but we still don't have enough to really break on through.
Yeah, I'm honestly not sure how DNS can break through these Lurkers, because Colossus are nice, but I don't think they can quite kill them in time before they get to the army. At the same time, we have this Zealot warp in, and the Queens may be falling down.
Yeah, the Queen's going to be going down. At least they do take down the Prism, so it doesn't have to worry about that. The Roaches, they come back to defend. Zealot Rambai will be cleaned up, and DNS doesn't find an opening. He was hoping that Dark was going to over defend and send a little bit too much into the main, but he actually didn't send enough because a lot of drones are falling.
Yeah, actually, the Dark underestimated this attack a little bit, as these few Zealots were able to kill 11 drones, and now that most of his Roach army is moving out, like, that gives some chance to DNS, but the Nidus is coming in.
Yeah, the Nidus is coming in. This should just be forcing DNS to be defensive. I don't really think we should be seeing anything coming out from this. But I don't know if you noticed, as DNS scouted the lurkers, he threw down 2 Stargates and a Fleet Beacon. He's getting ready to transition into Skytoss.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a solid choice. And DNS actually decided to recall his forces when he saw the Nidus. So I guess he will just, play defensive until the transition is ready and wait for what Dark throws at him.
Yeah, so Dark has survived the scariest moments. Again, because of the disastrous early game for Dark, he was in a lot of trouble. Now he has survived, and now we're all getting into the late game. DNS working on his sky toss. Dark, likewise, throws down 2 Spires. He's getting ready to get into double upgrades for Corruptors.
I'm sorry, but that was so funny when the Changeling was standing there and the Pro just lightly touched it and it exploded.
And here we go, the Lurkers are going for a massive counterattack across the map. This center 5th base is very exposed. The Colossi do wander into Lurker range.
Yeah, the Colossi really unfortunate buffing them. Both of them will be going down, and now the Lurkers are trying to sandwich this army of DNS. At the very least, they will be doing a lot of damage to these bases.
Yeah, exactly, and this massive Lurker run by is very committed here. We do have a Revelation, so a lot of Lurkers are going to be going down, but Dark, he has so many Lurkers. He's got, like, I want to say around 15 or maybe even more Lurkers. He's pushing through. He's doing damage.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter that they are being slowly taken down if they already did the damage, so... I mean, yeah, the Nexus even will be falling down on this 4th base.
Yeah, the power of +3 range and, +3 range and also the range upgrade on these Lurkers. We do see another counterattack. Dark is pulling DNS apart before he can get into his Sky Toss. He only had a handful of Tempest, and with the Colossus falling, like, DNS, he's losing base after base.
Yeah, DNS was trying to defend with his army, but he didn't have the Lurkers revealed, and he walked his Stalkers right into the range as well, so that definitely hurts him quite a bit as well, but I mean, he will be able to clean this up eventually, but he already lost 2, 3 Nexi?
Yeah, he lost his 3rd, he lost his 4th, and he lost his 5th base. 3 Nexi have gone down in the blink of an eye, and now suddenly DNS's economy is in shambles. He has a decent army, don't get us wrong. He's got, 5 Tempests, a good amount of Immortals. He has a lot of High Templar for Storm. He can still take a fight, but remaxing is going to be the problem.
Yeah, like his economy will not be looking too great. He now has this Tempest, which definitely help, but as we saw, like, I mean, they kill the Lurkers, but they kill them like 1 by 1, so that's just not fast enough for the aggression that Dark is putting out.
Really is not. Meanwhile, it looks like those Tempests overextend. I think there was an Abduct there, and 2 Tempests go down immediately to the Hydras.
Yeah, I think that might be actually be just puffing, as the DNS was trying to be a bit more aggressive. He didn't quite expect this many Hydras to be right at the spot, and quite a few of the Tempests already going down, and there's still more Lurkers in his base.
Yeah, the Lurker counterattack is going to be forcing him apart. Meanwhile, once again, the Hydras push forward. They almost get another Tempest for their troubles. We do have 2 Vipers on the field as well. They're going to be slowly gathering up that energy, waiting for those Abducts. But there are still a lot of Storms as well. So again, DNS, his hopes and dreams aren't just in the Tempest. His ground army is pretty formidable as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, he definitely does still have an army that Dark has to be careful about, because it in a single moment it can quite change the tide of the game. But with this many Lurkers being set up, this is looking very difficult for DNS.
Yeah, we even force a recall as well. I mean, the recall is going to be able to take down quite a number of these Lurkers, but once again, he forces DNS to turn back around, and DNS is struggling to get a 3rd base up and running. Like, he wasn't able to retake the triangular 3rd. He's trying to take a double expand and take the center base as well, but Dark sees everything, and soon Dark is going to go for his own push.
Yeah, and I'm having a bit of a flashbacks to the previous game where, like, DNS started the game well, but once Dark got to his Nidus, once he, got to, like, actually, like, constantly put pressure on DNS, like, he was just slowly chipping him away. And I mean, we'll see if DNS can make something happen with the army he has right now, because he may, like, Dark may just wear him down.
Yeah, he may just wear him down. As here we go. We do see the Abducts coming in once again. 2 of these Tempests are going to be going down. Decent Storm on some of these Lurkers, but I feel like it kind of missed the juicy center there, and we're down to, 3 Tempests?
Yeah, the Tempests are falling down 1 by 1. There are now Corruptors here, so every Abduct means that the Tempest is going down, and the Lurker runbys are not stopping. The Stalkers are trying to do some damage, but they're not quite as fast.
Yeah, but it looks like maybe Dark has overextended a little bit. We do see the main army coming across these lurkers. The detection has arrived as well, but the lurkers are also coming from behind.
Yeah, but did you see that one volley on these stalkers? Like half of the army of DNS was suddenly gone, and the rest of them badly damaged. And now he's between one lurker flank and the other.
Yeah, the lurkers, they're just encroaching on the army of DNS. The High Templar! No! That Templar, they need to get out of there.
Just standing. Ah.
They do manage to get away. Meanwhile, the Nidus finishes. The Queens are popping out. We have lurkers, literally a 360 surround of lurkers as they're also towards the backline. GG gets called, and Dark takes the series 2-0.
No, as the chat is having opinions. We summoned Asher, bro. We summoned Asher, bro.
GG, well played. Dark was in a disastrous spot at the start of the game. He was losing so many of his workers. He was being pulled apart by the Adeptoras and the Oracles as well of DNS. And his only real way to survive was to rush into Lurker Tech, rush into Hive Tech as well. And as he was rushing into that tech, he was vulnerable. He was very vulnerable to an attack, but DNS didn't pull the trigger. He stayed at home. He slowly got a third base. He got a fourth base. He was rounding out his army. But even before his Colossi, we've seen plenty of players like Hero, like Classic, like Creator as well, be very active with pure Blink Stalkers as they work up their Colossus bank, their Disruptor bank as well. We didn't see that from DNS. He was content staying at home, and this gave Dark an opportunity to come back in that game.
Yeah, like... I mean, it's hard to say, because, I mean, DNS didn't look bad in this game, but it did feel like he kind of just barely missed the window, and like, once Dark, got into his comfortable game, like, that was just, I don't say over, but like, it was very hard for DNS to keep up after after Dark just started throwing attacks at him left and right.
Yeah, again, it was a good start from DNS, but it was the follow-up that was lacking. He did miss the window where he could have killed Dark, and once the lurkers arrived, everything did change. The dynamic changed. We saw a good transition into Skytoss. I think I've spoken to Asher about this before, I think where we were casting a couple of days ago. I'm not loving the idea of rushing into Tempest first. Tempest, they have their place, but I think you even pointed it out. Like, when the Tempest got on top of the lurkers, they kill like one lurker at a time.
Yeah, they're just very slow.
Even though carriers are more expensive, I do think that there's more value in them in that kind of position of the game. It's hard to say, what Skytoss kind of composition he should be going for, but I do think the Tempests were lacking quite a bit there.
Yeah. I don't feel like the Tempest quite did their job, because there were like, I want to say like 6 of them maybe, and still like he was like killing one lurker at a time maybe.
Yeah,
It was not very strong.
Yeah, exactly. And as that was happening, we saw the mass counterattacks, we saw the mass run-bys as well, pulling his opponent apart. But with that, DKZ Gaming will take the 4-0 over Platinum Heroes. But we have one matchup remaining here. We'll see if it becomes a 6-0, or we'll see if our Polish Protoss player can fight back against the best Protoss in the world.
Yeah, and once again, I mean, it is Hero, and everybody knows that I cheer for Hero. But Art is a pretty good Protoss, as we've seen multiple times, and we've seen him play in various tournaments, including our own. And it is a PvP. So literally anything can happen.
Yeah, exactly. And Art has been looking quite impressive as well. I wanted to try and find his series here. He played in the OSC midseason playoffs. We were lucky enough to cast some of that last week, if you recall. Casted some of Art's games. And he went up against a high-tier Protoss player, and he came out on top. I want to double-check who that was. Okay, so last week, he 2-0'd Trigger, and I was very impressed. I was very impressed with Art's performance last week. We'll see if he can do that again. Spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Neo Humanity, representing Platinum Heroes, it is Art.
And in the top left corner, in the red, representing DKZ Gaming, it's Hero.
Here we go. The PvP to end the night, to end it all here. And yeah, we'll see how this does go. Art has been looking really impressive. He had some very cheeky and very out of the norm builds against Trigger. It was wild. So for as an example for what he did, he took a ninja base against Trigger. And he made it look like he was going for a one base all in because his Nexus was elsewhere, and Trigger fell for it. You know, that like weird stuff like that. There was a lot of mind games going on from Art against Trigger, and it was really interesting. It was really strategic, really interesting to watch unfold.
I mean, I would like to see that as Art is playing versus Hero, but at the same time, can you out cheeky the Hero, considering all the builds he has come up with?
Well, this is an example of it. So Art, his second pylon is a proxy pylon, and he proxies his second gateway as well. So Art is going for a 2-gate opener, but he makes it look like he's going for a gate expand. So Hero, he is waiting. He was trying to delay the Nexus. He's scouting the main base as well. He's trying to figure out what is happening right now, and Art is trying to get into his head.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely a solid choice when playing versus Hero. And I feel like that's the most fun way to play versus Hero, because like, you know, when you can match up his crazy build with your own. But we'll see if that's gonna be successful, as so far it doesn't look like Hero knows.
Yeah, I mean, Hero, he's still trying to figure out what's going on. He just keeps rechecking the natural, rechecking the main base. I would love it if Art takes the ninja from here. He does have a probe over towards the linear third base location to once again just throw a wild card in Hero's face. And yeah, Hero's falling for it. He's going for a robo opener. He's afraid that it's going to be a one base all in, but he's also scouting around the map.
Yeah, he's like, okay, come on, you are doing something. Like this is a bit too suspicious.
Yeah, and there we go. Hero, he is going to be parking his probe at that linear third location. He does come across that probe, and we'll see what Art does from this position, because we can see that he went for a 2-gate opener, so he has plenty of Stalkers to work with. But what's his tech going to be from here? Is it going to be tech, or is it going to be an expansion?
Yeah, we're gonna find out, but for the time being, Hero is moving his own Stalkers to this side of the map, and we'll see what force will meet him, and actually he may be overpowered here.
Yeah, exactly. Look, the Stalker count from Art is just too great. Because of his 2-gate opener, he was able to lure Hero into a false sense of security, and Art is expanding behind this, so he is going for that Nexus. Meanwhile, Art, he's kind of overextending, I feel.
Yeah, he will lose a Stalker for it, but he's also taking down one of Heroes, so I feel like both players will suffer similar losses.
Yeah, but Art has to run through the slow zone. He's going to take extra hits in the retreat, and he barely keeps his 2 Stalkers alive.
Yeah, just barely. At the same time, Art is progressing with his build, and he will be getting the Twilight Council next.
He is. Meanwhile, Hero across the map, he's gone up to 3 gateways. I imagine he already has a prism as well. So Hero is going to be very aggressive here with 3 Stalkers being warped in at a time. He basically has Blink as well with that prism, and now Art has to be the defender. He has to, you know, kind of reap what he sowed. He kind of caused this reaction, and we'll see if he can hold.
He poked the bear, huh?
He did.
He did. And the bear is here, and he's angry.
The bear is very angry right now. The Stalkers have arrived. You see Art trying to take control of his main base. He doesn't have energy for a Force Field. He went for a Hallucinated Scout.
Yeah, and this Warp is definitely helping Hero a lot. He's able to micro these Stalkers back and forth. He does have the power of the numbers, but still attacking upper ramp is quite complicated, so he decides to take that Nexus instead.
Yeah, the Nexus is going to be going down, and this is already a great amount of damage from a Hero. He's looking to push himself up this ramp. Art has the worker advantage. He does have 31 probes, but he doesn't have the numbers. He doesn't have Blink either.
Yeah, and Hero's still microing his Stalkers with that Warp Breeze, blinking as well. Blinking is hard. But he doesn't quite have enough forces to keep Hero. Like, Hero is just, you know, being careful, moving back whenever his units are too damaged. But he attacks every time with a bigger force than Art has.
Yeah, I mean, Hero, he almost has double the Stalker count of Art right now. And Art is defending because he has the high ground. He also has 2 shield batteries and an overcharge as well. So Hero can't really break his opponent. But we can see that he's starting Immortal production from here. And if he wants to, he can just expand and just be ahead economically.
But does he want to expand? That's the question. Like, he has some stuff set up at the natural, but I feel like once Hero sees an opportunity, he kind of just wants to take it, you know?
Yeah, and he backs off. He makes it looks like he's turning back around, but no, he's doing anything but. He's showing up here once again. He does come across that proxy gateway, and ooh, one gateway is going to be depowered.
Yeah, so that will be that much less production for Art, and he already was down on units, and now he is forced to fight as well.
Exactly. I mean, thankfully, Art did just finish up Blink, so now he can go for his own counterplay, and he can keep up with the control and the micro of Hero in a way, but Art is heavily supply blocked at the moment. Finally, he has broken free, but Hero is pushing forward.
Yeah, he's not letting go of the aggression, and Art is trying to retake this natural, but the Stalkers of Hero are still here, and now the Immortal is joining them as well.
Yeah, the Immortal has arrived. We're going to be seeing another cancel on the natural base, and there it is. Thankfully, it was not killed. Now with the Immortal, we have the pushing power to push on forward. GG gets called, and Hero takes game number 1. Like, he's just processing what just happened.
It's just because I feel like some players just look very stressed when they win. It's like,
yeah,
okay,
I mean,
game 1, now game 2.
I've seen that look before. I'm pretty sure that what Hero was doing there, immediately after the game, he was looking at the replay. I think he was looking
Possibly.
at the opener.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
Like,
so
you could see that it was like still it was like laser focused. Like he didn't you know, breathe like a sigh of relief. Like no, he was still in the game, like mentally.
Yeah. He was just kind of checking. He was trying to figure out what the opener from Art was, because again, Hero didn't scout it. He was playing kind of a little bit blind as to what Art was doing. And again, this is what we saw from Art against Trigger. Like Art was playing a lot with his initial pylon placement, with his buildings, with everything. Again, it's a really fun style of PvP to watch and to spectate and cast as well. It's really interesting, and I love that he's doing it here against Hero. But Hero is also really decisive. Like, as we saw, he's like, if he wants to fight you, he will, and he'll try to kill you.
Like he's not afraid.
Yeah.
And once again, we are loaded in, and we're in Gresvan, and we look in the blue Protoss player representing Platinum Heroes. Art.
Spawning in the top left-hand corner for DKZ Gaming, it is Hero.
Time to make bets when the next pylon, where the next pylon is gonna be.
Ooh, where is it going to be? That is the question here. Well, Hero is just going to be going for a pretty early probe across the map, I imagine, to scout, and I don't blame him, because game 1 from Art showed that he's willing to be really quirky and really weird. And I'm sure Hero probably hasn't played Art in a long time or ever, so probably not too familiar with him, and yeah, just being very cautious.
And to be fair, I feel like in the first game his scout was also fairly early, but he did miss the prop of Art moving out. This time he will be able to see most of it at least.
Yeah, he does get eyes on the opener, at least. Sees both casters being taken, nothing too crazy. A 2-gate opener from Art, and this time the second gateway is in the main base.
Yeah, so no secrets this time, and I guess we're just gonna have straight up openings for the beginning.
Yeah, everything's going to be looking standard, so 2-gate openers all around. This should be going, and now we get to play our favorite game, Kuro.
Hero, 2 Stalkers.
Okay. I'm going to say, I'm going to say Art, Stalker, Sentry.
Okay, I'm gonna say Art to Adepts. Let's go.
Okay. I'll say Hero to Adepts.
Okay.
It's Hero to throw down a proxy pylon out on the map as well, just to be a little bit cheeky here, just to throw off his opponent a little. Sorry, yeah, Art's throwing down a proxy across the map. Meanwhile, Stalker Sentry from both players.
Interesting. I guess they played that first game and like, you know what? We need information. We need to figure this out.
Yeah, so Stalker Sentry, this is the more defensive macro opener. With this, you can't really be too aggressive. You can't be too assertive on the map. And with those sentries, it's all about scouting. It's all about the hallucinated scouts.
Yeah, indeed. And I guess both players want to be a bit more comfortable in this game than the last one. And I mean, we'll see what they progress with. For the time being, they will be just keeping an eye on each other and, you know, getting their economy up, getting the tech up.
Yeah, Hero, he is looking for that third pylon, by the way. He did see that it was missing, and he is scouring the map as we speak, looking for that pesky pylon. We can see that it's not really anything to bear in mind, as there's nothing being proxied or anything like that, but Hero is aware that it's somewhere, and he knows that he can't find it.
I mean, yeah, it's important that you do have the information. At least you can confirm that it's not dangerous to you, but yeah, I guess he will be trying to look for that one, as you know, both players just scouting each other with the phoenixes.
Yeah. Phoenixes are zooming across the map. You can see both players expanding as well. Hero is the first player to throw down some tech. He throws down a Twilight Council. Meanwhile, it looks like Art was waiting for the hallucination to kill it first before throwing down his own tech.
Yeah, that's definitely what it looks like, but we still don't quite see the tech yet. And for Hero, I could only imagine this is Blink, right?
Yeah, should be for Blink Stalkers. Meanwhile, we see Art's going to be reinforcing across the map with that proxy pylon, and he's going to be looking to be quite aggressive as he throws down another proxy across the map as well.
Yeah, but at the same time, Hero chose his own, so I guess it will be whoever proxies first, and it looks like Art is on the offensive right now, so Hero will have to defend his base.
Yeah, exactly. So Art, I believe that is a third gateway for him, so he's going to be ahead in production compared to Hero. He'll be able to warp in more units at a time, but Hero will have a shield battery and he'll have an overcharge to defend his natural, as all across the map, the wall's not a wall, two adepts slip in.
Yeah, to adapt slip in, there are absolutely no units for Art on this side of the map, so the probes will be falling down. They are forced off the line to fight. At the same time, Art is moving into Hero's natural.
And just like that, the adepts are too much. He's forced all in. The overcharge is too strong, and Hero will take game number 2 and the series 2-0.
See, now we get the side of relief. That's where he actually closed the game. He's like, oh, okay, I won.
Yeah, exactly. Much more decisive here in game number 2. We saw that, unfortunately, there was no wall for Art available, and Hero was able to slip in with some adepts. 2 adepts do one-shot workers, and I mean, Art was already all in, and his economy was crippled. And if he couldn't end the game with his army then he never would. And Hero's defense was just too good.
He was very focused on the offensive, and didn't quite consider leaving something at home, or like even like a full wall or anything. So in the end, it worked out for Hero.
Yeah, it did. So GG, well played, as DragonKy Gaming take the 6-0 against Platinum Heroes. Again, to be fair, DragonKy, they are looking to be one of the favorite teams in the entire league. They are a team of champions, of the best. So yeah, it is quite difficult to overcome that, regardless of what team you are.
Definitely, it is a very strong team, so definitely GG's. I mean, we've seen some solid games. Like, I expected this series to be way more one-sided, to be honest.
Yeah, I do think that Dark was hurting a little bit. I think that Dark's games were a lot closer versus DNS, and I hope DNS is proud of his performance. Again, like, those 2 wins that Dark got, he had to work really hard for them. They were not easy games. So I hope DNS is able to be proud of his performance overall and feel good about going toe-to-toe with Dark.
Yeah, pretty. I mean, even HateMe like showed us some pretty like neat defenses in the first series. So overall, like Platinum Heroes did pretty well, all things considered.
They did. They really did. And I hope they're able to take from that. I hope they're able to learn from that and grow from that as well, as we are wrapping up day number 2 of the World Team League of round number 5. But we're only halfway through. Or we're 2/3 of the way through at this point. We have one more day of WTL tomorrow. And I believe tomorrow's matches are going to be as follows. Tomorrow's matches are going to be Berserker Esports versus Team Basilisk and Team Liquid versus Shopify Rebellion.
Yeah, so some strong teams coming up tomorrow, definitely. And we'll see who comes out on top. And if you missed the predictions for today, then make sure that you vote for the predictions tomorrow. Join our Discord.
Yes, join our Discord and put all your money on the Starving Camels.
I mean, they're not playing tomorrow, but you can vote for them next week.
There you go. You can vote for them next week. And yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed themselves here tonight. That is going to be it for us tonight, as we did cast 3 tournaments today. We started the morning with KSL, then in the afternoon we had GPO. Here tonight we had WTL. So 3 events back to back to back, and we made it. We survived. Let's go.
Time to do it tomorrow again.
That's time to do it all over again. Let's go. Thank you. Shout out to Asher for casting the first series here for WTL, and thank you so much, Kuro, as well, for jumping in for to help me cast as well. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's nice to be able to see DKZ. Yeah, some nice games. No, some actually really nice games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Oh boy. Meanwhile, our next broadcast is going to be tomorrow. It is going to be the Sparkling Tuna Cup in less than 24 hours. So make sure you're there for some more Korean, European, Southeast Asian action. It is an open tournament that we do host, open to the world. So plenty of international players are going to be facing off there. Meanwhile, if you enjoyed our broadcast, follow the CranKy Ducklings. CranKy Ducklings on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Discord. We are all over the place. All things CranKy Ducklings. Follow us if you enjoyed it, and if you want some more CranKy casts.
So, Light, where can we find you when you're not casting?
In bed.
No. Oh. Well,
You can find me at light_VIP on Twitch and Twitter. I do stream occasionally throughout the week whenever I'm not casting, which is very rare. Unfortunately, I don't stream too often just because we're very busy casting here on the CranKy Ducklings. But again, if I'm ever not here, usually on my own channel, and I do stream some Zerg ladder gameplay. I also stream I'm going to be streaming some Diablo 2 this week as well, just so I can finish up the campaign before Diablo 4 comes out. That is going to be my goal. And Kuro, where can people find more of yourself?
you can find more of me here because I'm mostly doing Duckling stuff, or on the Discord because I'm mostly on the Discord. But if you really want to follow my channel, then go to twitch.tv/16squad sanseki, where I mostly stream Final Fantasy just to chill. I may actually do that, but maybe not today. And
there you go.
Yeah, make sure to follow us here, and make sure to join Sparkling Tuna Cup tomorrow because it is open to everyone, regardless of level, regardless of region. So even if you are a silver from Europe, a silver from I don't know, America, you can still join it. You can still try. We played as silvers in Olimo League, so hey.
Did happen back in the day. So if you're interested, if you don't play against some pro players, Sparkling Tuna Cup is the place to be. With that, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for the support. We'll see you guys tomorrow for some Sparkling Tuna Cup, for some World Team League as well. Kuro, do you have anything you want to say before we head off for the night?
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.